Hi, welcome to my channel, Moments of Sanctuary, where I share stories of where I have experienced the sacred mixing with the ordinary. And today's almost a follow-up from my last story, so I will link that below. If you are new and not subscribing yet, you can hit the red subscribe button and that will alert you to all the new stories so you don't miss any. But this is another kind of two-part story because in 2005 we went on two trips, one to Peru, and then less than a week later we went to Atlanta to serve with our first middle school / senior high trip. And some really awesome things happened. When we were in Peru, we were with an organization that is very evangelical, and the mission of that trip was to partner with church plants there in Lima that were starting up new churches, and we would go out on the streets and we would perform dramas, and we would have translators, and the dramas didn't even need any words at all. They were just kind of charades. And then there would be a speaker who would share the gospel and the message of the church and invite people for prayer and for invitation to be part of a growing congregation. And I was a team leader, so I got to be one of those leaders that took the mic afterward and kind of explained the drama and invited people to ask if they would like to receive prayer. So, growing up in a very mainline denomination, we believe in sharing and proclaiming our faith, yet standing on a street corner with a microphone is not something normally that we practice. So there was some training ahead of time that I had to go down and do and get all engaged. And it's my first time. We're in Peru, we're going through the marketplace, and this alone is some culture shock for me. So the market, there's all these vendors, and most people just have those wooden carts that they're rolling around, and mostly it was food. There was also some clothing and goods for sale, but mostly it was their grocery store. And those who had the meat, like the fish or the chickens, it was just a wooden cart, and they would have the dead animals stacked up there, and when someone wanted one, they would chop off the head or whatever they wanted done to it, and they would put it, they had those little kind of Walmart plastic bags, a few, but mostly it was those mesh plastic weave bags, and so they would just stick them in those and go on their way. There was no shrink wrap, or certainly no refrigeration or ice or anything to keep them cold, and that to me seemed really weird. And the one woman who had her chicken cart was chopping the heads off for people and giving them their chickens, and she did have gloves on. So she rolled her little cart over to the park area where we set up and we performed our drama, and I got up to explain the gospel in front of the crowd for my first time in Peru with the visual of this chicken cart right in front of me. But you know, when I asked if people were wanting the youth to come out and pray with them, she was the very first one. That little gloved chicken gut hand went up in the air, and I thought to myself, thank you for this reassurance that we were in the right place doing the right thing, because it didn't feel very comfortable to me. Fast forward 1 week later, after we've greeted and met all these beautiful people in Peru, hundreds of people we've now talked to on the streets in Peru. Less than a week later, we are with our middle schoolers in Atlanta, and the crew I was with went to a state supported facility for those who are mentally handicapped. And there's a children's section and an adult section. And so I divided my team. I said one of my adults with the kids, and I take the ones over to the adult section. And we're doing some puzzles and activities with them. But before we're released with the residents, the director calls us into this back room and says, I understand that y'all are with the church, but even if the residents or the staff ask you why you're here or why you're doing this, you are forbidden from telling them that you are with a church, religious organization, and you may not say the name Jesus Christ. So we were a little uncomfortable again, because here, 1 week earlier, we had microphones proclaiming the name Jesus. 1 week later, we're forbidden from saying the name Jesus. So we thought, gosh, are we supposed to protest this? Are we supposed to do something about this? But it became really clear pretty quick that the people that we were serving and spending time with did not understand a deep theological conversation. It wasn't an issue. They were just trying to learn how to do life, period. They had their own challenges, and it was no big deal that we could not share our faith. It was a whole different ballgame. And I kind of helped the youth, guide them around working with the different residents there. And the one that I was really drawn to was named Emily. Now, she was 23 years old, but her mind was never going to develop more than 8 months old. And she could say 4 things. She could say my arm, my bear, my heart, and bathroom. Those were the only 4 things she could say. And you know how babies love to look at faces and facial expressions? And so I would help out, but I would always tend to go back and sit with Emily. And one day we would just all day long work on a chore, like trying to hang a shirt on a hanger and hang it up all day long, or a crayon, and we would color. And her coloring was just back and forth. And she seemed to really like the color purple. And mostly I would just lean down and get my face close to hers and just talk to her, because she, again, liked to fixate on faces. And the staff told me, oh, that's so awesome, because she's never a problem. And a lot of our residents give us some problems, and we have to spend our time and energy with them. So, nothing bad happens to Emily, but she doesn't get a lot of attention. So we've been really thankful that you've spent this time with her. At the end of the week, all the youth and I go into the big fellowship hall to say goodbye to the residents, and they wheel Emily in. And when she sees me across the room, I see recognition on her face, and she cries out, "My heart!" And I said, "Oh, Emily, my heart." And that became one of the most sacred moments for me. It was as if I knew God himself entered that room and said to me, "See, Kristen, sometimes I need you to be bold. I need you to proclaim the name Jesus. And sometimes I just simply need you to be quiet and be Jesus." That, my friends, is our biggest challenge. To know when it is that we share the name of our faith, whatever it may be, whatever our passion is, whatever our heart is, whatever's true to us, because this, my friends, is true to me. And sometimes it's just being Jesus, being that human essence of who we are. So may you remember that you have been fearfully and wonderfully made, and may you this day lean into your own moments of discovering these moments of sanctuary. Blessings on your day.